Hello tech friends, today a Psion Organiser II. This one is a Model XP and it's a little beaten up. It was made in the UK, not that that really means very much. Let's have a little look around the device. It's about 5 inches long and even nearly about an inch thick. It's a fairly weighty object. On the top we've got a port there to connect for communication and any additional peripherals that were created to make use of this device. It's got this plastic cover on it which is pretty robust. We take that off. I think though there's a little notch here to sort of stop it easily going all the way out, and I think that's, so you could type something in and then quickly close it again afterwards. But let's ditch the protection. On the side we've got a little contrast wheel there, up and down. On the other side we haven't got anything at all. On the back we've got these two little inputs. If I can take this bottom one out, which is a bit stiff, so this is just a sort of a blanking one, and you can see the connections just about inside there. And this is actually a real RAM pack. Is that what they were called? EPROMs, RAM packs, it depends what they can actually do. This one's got games on it apparently, although sadly I haven't been able to get that one to work. But I am on the lookout for more of these little packs, so maybe I can figure out what's going on wrong with this one. Maybe it's the data pack itself, or maybe I don't quite understand to use it. I'll show you what I've tried so far. Right, so let's turn this thing on. As you can see, it's got 2-line display. Not very much, is it? But then this is back in 1986. So there was an Organiser, a version 1 that came out a couple of years prior to this. But this thing was pretty successful. Certainly in the UK, they made 500,000 of these things, and it was kicking around for about 10 years. It was used by greats like Marks and Spencer's on the shop floor, and in fact on eBay you can see ones that are actually branded Marks and Spencer's. Not quite sure what they were specifically used for, but maybe stock control or something like that. Apparently, according to Wikipedia, the world's first large-scale application of mobile technology in government, and they bought 3,000 of these bad boys. I think the main idea with this is it's got some functions on it, and I'll walk you through those. But if you have specific packs that maybe have been built by the company that uses it to cover some of their software or their requirements or whatever, you stick that in, and then it really serves that sort of purpose. So let's have a little look at some of the functions we've got on here. Find, save, diary, calc, prog, erase. If I just press down there, time, info, alarm. Copy, reset, and off. Well, I think we all know what off is going to do. The keyboard layout is pretty strange. I mean, we're going from A to Z, but I guess it's the form factor that forces that. You couldn't have a QWERTY keyboard layout on here, which it takes a little bit of getting used to typing text in, because you're not really expecting it to, for the buttons to be laid out. But it's got quite a satisfying little click to it each time I click on a button. So the main feature of this is kind of like an address book. It's like a database, but you could put anything you want in it, and then you've got the ability to search it. So let's just open up the database and see what I've got in here already. The thing to note about this is the internal memory on here is referred to as the A drive, and then this top one here is the B drive, and then this one's the C drive. So it just depends whether it's plugged in or not, and you switch between them by pressing this mode button. So if I just hit enter or exe in the corner, who do we have in here? It's Derek Jacobi, Abbey Church, St. Peter's. I wonder if anyone's gonna get that carefully crafted reference. Probably not. So you can go in and edit things. Let's create a new one, shall we? Colombo. Press down to do a different line, and this is where you would type in the address. You hold down shift and press the button. 15 LA Road. That's where Colombo lives, right? Everyone knows that. Look, I'm hunting for these letters because they're just in a bit of an unusual place. So then you hit exe and it saves it apparently. And then if I search for COL, there we go. There's Colombo, and I can hit that, and then it will bring up the rest of the entry. So you can use that and you can search through it, and can you imagine having lots of addresses and things in there for all your contacts, all your friends you make when you're away at your conferences, and you all pull out your Psion Organiser II at the same time and compare them. I'm not sure this would fit in a pocket. If it would be quite painful when you actually sit down. So that's finding and saving. Saving's like new, really. And then the diary. Let's have a look at this. So July the 23rd, Sunday, 1:30 in the afternoon. If we scroll through, we're scrolling through the different times there in the top right hand corner. So let's make a new entry here for 15:30. What are we going to do there? We're going to it's probably time for the Badger Parade, actually, isn't it? Let's put that in there. Badger Parade. Okay, we've just got time for the Badger Parade there at 3:30 on the Sunday. And interestingly enough, although it is the 23rd of July and it says Sunday, there's something very interesting about the date. So I can select whether I want to have an alarm on there. I'll just say no for that. And when you're in the diary part of the Psion Organiser, you can press mode and it'll switch to different ways you can view your appointments. So you can just look at what's in there for today. If I look at list, it will just list everything that's in there, kind of like in a schedule way. So you can see all your appointments and things like that. So that is probably another really big feature of this device. Let's go back to the main menu. Of course, we've got a calculator. And we've got these keys that have got numbers above them, and then they're just automatically switched to number mode. So I can just type in all these buttons and do some calculations. And it's got a bunch of memory as well, so you can actually save things to the memory and add things and remove things. And actually, one thing that's quite handy is, say you've just fudged up the calculation. Let's put in a different number, and you can just keep editing it. It keeps it on the screen, which is quite handy rather than wiping it each time. That's a handy feature. I think you'll agree. Okay, let's go back to the main menu again. Right, prog. This is kind of where the meat of this device is. So it uses a programming language called OPL, Organizer Programming Language. And it's kind of like BASIC. And you can write programs. And of course, if you've got any programs stored on one of these little packs, then that's the programming language that these will be written in, unless it's written in machine code, I think. So it's the difference between basic and machine code. Let's have a little look at a program that I've already written on here. If we go to dir, that means that we can list everything that's on a particular drive. So A, as we've said, is the Psion Organiser drive itself, and this has got a program on it called now. So let's run that. And this is an example that exists in the manual to just show you how it works. So if I just go back, sometimes it's not entirely clear how you go back to things. Let's move down to the run command. And now it's asking me to type in, well, what's the name of the program? So I can't sort of press up and down and select. I've got to actually type it in, which is a bit annoying. It is now 13:16. And then you press the button and it's gone, and that's actually reading from the sort of internal clock that's going. I believe it's not a fancy clock in here, it's really just counting up seconds, but it works, and that's the important thing. Actually, I'll just mention a bit about the power. If I pop this open, you can see we've got a 9-volt battery in here, which is great because it means 9-volt batteries are very easy to get hold of, and that particular one, total side note, is like this, like one of these 9-volt batteries. Looks like a regular battery. Look at this. It's got a USB socket on it. It's actually rechargeable. It's because it's quite easy to recharge AA and AAA batteries and things, but 9-volt batteries are a bit trickier because you have to have special things that match up with the contacts. So I bought a few of these, and I don't know if they last a very long time or not, but they're working out for me for little things like this. So yeah, not a bad idea. Rechargeable 9-volt batteries. Okay, so that's the programming language we've got on there. Shall we have a look at how that's actually been written? Yes, indeed, you say. So let's have a look at edit. So it's got the name of the program at the top here. Make sure you can see that. And then if I move down to the first line of code, so you don't have to number the lines of code. You can just write them one after another. So print, and if I just move all the way right, it is now, comma, hour. So it's like, that's like a keyword, and then a colon, and then minute. And that is how you write the code. And obviously, because it's sort of basic inspired, you've got all the usual things that you can do, logic and things like that, but you can also interact with the data you've stored on it. So those names and addresses, you can interact with those as if they're a record set in a database. So you can imagine how this could get pretty complex and very useful in very specific scenarios back in 1986. Now, here's a question for you. How much do you think this actually cost in 1986? Or as I say, it was kicking around for about 10 years. So obviously it would have gone down in price. Well, let's have a look at the appropriate Argos catalogue for the time, pretty much for the time. This is the Argos Autumn Winter 1991 edition. I remember this one. The Book of Dreams, you know, trying to find the present that you want for Christmas or whatever. And the Argos catalogue, if you don't know, it's like a mail order catalogue, but you actually went to the shop to buy the thing. No, I know it sounds like I'm explaining shopping, but essentially you do all of your shopping at home. You choose the things you wanted, and they had all these little codes on it, 2309802, and you take that into the shop, and you could write it down on a little piece of paper and pay for it at the till, and then someone would go out the back and find it for you. So it had a big jewellery section as well. But let me just find the right page that we're looking for these things. So sound and vision, here we are, calculators office. So we're looking for page 266, and here we go. But if we keep scrolling down, oh, I like the look of this Casio one here. Oh, that's a nice one. Keep going down. Here it is. This is the Psion Organiser II, number 17. Let's see what it says about that. So, dates back and built in 64K RAM, extended cross-reference filing system for addresses or other information. Yeah, we got that. Week of view diary, 8 repeating alarm clocks. I'll show the alarm clock in a minute. It's got quite a nice sound to it. Powerful calculator, clock, timers, stopwatch. I don't think I've got some of those things. World time and international dialing codes. I mean, this might be a later model than this particular one. And here it is. Here's the price. £129 in 1991. I think you're getting quite a lot of bang for your buck with this for £129 back in 1990-ish, especially when you compare it to everything else that's on the market at the time. Like, this really is available and pretty unique, I would say. Right, let's get back now to the main menu. Yes, I want to quit. It's difficult to figure out where the Y button is. So let's see. So we've seen program erase. Well, that'll just erase data that's on the internal memory. But some of these EEPROM add-ons, you can't delete things from them. Some of them have like a UV sensor, so if you get it in the sunlight, it'll wipe it. Some of them have electrical ways of doing it. It was a developing technology that used that kind of thing, these little packs. We've got the time here. Let's dive into that. Sunday, 23rd of July, 1922. Well, that's not right, is it? Of course it's not. If I try and change the year, you might already be with me here in terms of what the problem is. Let's back this all the way down to 1900, and then it leaps to 1999. No one envisaged people would still be using this, perhaps, beyond the year 2000. And this is the kind of thing that people used to freak out about with the Y2K, because, you know, you get to 1999, it ticks over at midnight, and it goes back to 1900. Well, I mean, it turned out not to be that big a deal in the end, didn't it? But so I've set it to 1922 so that you know, it sort of kind of matches with the year number, but it's not Sunday, so so it's not quite right. Right, let's come out of that, and I'll show you the not radio. There's not a radio in this. That really would be impressive. I'll stick the alarm on. Let's set the alarm. So if I just set this to 2-4, I can't type it in. Apparently, you just have to like go up and down, scrolling up and down with the arrow keys there. That will go off in just a few seconds, hopefully. There it is. Can you hear that? That's a pretty cool sound, isn't it? Now, how do you actually turn it off? Any idea? You hit delete, you hit shift and on seems to stop that from bleating. That would be difficult to do if blurry-eyed in the morning, wouldn't it? If I go over to the info bit here, it tells me how much memory we've got, and it's got this nice scrolling display which shows you what's free and, you know, how much memory you've used in the different parts of the operating system. And there we are, copy and reset, so you can reset the old device and you can copy files and things like that. So it's mainly about the programming, the diary, the address book. It's got a lot of features, and you can kind of see where we were going, you know, with the Psion Series 3 and the 5 and eventually the 7. And lots of other PDAs were built really on the back of this, I would say. So I'll just show you what I've tried to get working on the pack on the back, which has not been particularly successful. If I go to prog and then I go to dir to search, if I press the mode button, we switch over to the C drive, which will be that particular data pack, hit enter, and it says GPack. And then if I press, what is it, exe again, if I keep pressing it, it starts showing me all the other things that are on there. So F1, F2, F3 and F4, which I guess are either individual programs or a collection of programs that interact with each other or whatever. So, and it says GPack, I presume that's what I need to run. And then if I go back and try to run that, GPack, GPACK, it just brings me back to that menu again. So that doesn't feel right. And then if I tried one of the F1s, let's just delete that out of there. Delete, delete, delete. F1. Can I edit it? It says object only, so it's already been converted, I guess, into machine code or whatever. It's already been translated, so I can't really get in there to have a look at it. So I'm just not quite sure what I'm doing wrong with that. Maybe this is duff. Maybe I'm duff. Or maybe there's a different way to actually launch the games, and I've tried to find, like, you know, that's just a sticker on there. Who's come up with that? Is that an official release? Hard to find any information about it. But hey, maybe one of you can tell me. Maybe one of your Psion Organiser aficionados can tell me how to get this thing working. So the last bit, let's just switch it off. Go back to the main menu. Off. There we go. And we've put it to sleep. So there we go, Psion Organiser II. Pretty unusual layout for the keyboard, but very functional with all the address book and diary and being able to program things in there. And let's pop the case on, keep it nice and safe. There we go. Thanks for watching.